Hi everyone, it's the 9th of July and Melbourne, here we go again. Um, yeah, I suppose it was inevitable. We were all pretending that it might not happen, and it is. Coming from where I come from, would you believe that last weekend was actually Super Saturday in the UK? And that represented the reopening primarily of the pubs, and they opened at 6 o'clock in the morning. And some of the photos and the video from the UK, it looked like it was New Year's Eve. It kind of sounds madness, we all know that, but gee, it'd be nice to be in the pub at 6 o'clock in the morning. News here. Okay, so the government clearly is going to continue to support the economy. So they're talking about accelerating previously announced tax cuts. There's going to be further support for Victoria in particular, and there will be very targeted industry support for tourism, hospitality, education. I reckon those are the three big industries that have been hurt. Education particularly because of the lack of overseas students that we have right now. The banks, so a couple of nights ago, the banks announced that they will extend the repayment pause for another 4 months. It's not going to be quite like last time. I reckon last time it was you call up and you'll pretty much get the repayment pause. I think this time there's going to be a little bit more discretion applied, and they're only really going to want to give it to those borrowers who find themselves in true financial difficulty. It may well be just the story that they're presenting, so that not everybody requests an extension. But if you are currently on a repayment pause, it might be slightly more challenging this time to get it. The banks' rates are fairly steady at the moment. So because the RBA brought out the printing presses and bought some government bonds and made some really cheap money available for the banks, the cheap 2 and 3 year rates continue across both owner-occupied and investment lending. So anywhere between 2.1 and 2.7%, depending on the type of lending you've got. At some point, are we going to see a rate by a national institution with the number 1 in front of it? Now, I know there was a smaller bank in Tasmania who did a 1.99%, but is someone going to go at a national level? We'll see. Variable rates, there's only downward pressure. There's probably a sort of 0.4, 0.5 gap between between variable and fixed rates at the moment. Is that gap going to close entirely? I don't think so. I think the fixed rate is a result of an artificial action by the RBA. So I think what we're seeing is that variable rates are being tweaked. So 0.05, 0.03, 0.07, something like that. And those actions by individual lenders are down to maybe their cost of funding and also whether they're trying to grab some market share. Cash rebates are still around. Time's running out though. So I think we maybe only got another sort of month, 6 weeks of some of the majors offering it, but they might extend it. Again, it just depends on their desire to grab market share. Everybody asks me about property prices, and I read a lot, and obviously I'm in the industry. What do I think? I think we've seen. I think you've got established and you've got new build, right? So let's talk about. Let's talk about new build actually. So home buyer 25 grand, right? There has been a rush of land sales recently from people who have been trying to grab the home builder 25 grand, and there's strict conditions around that, and frankly the banks don't know how to deal with it yet. So I've got clients who are eligible for home builder, but the banks are saying, well, we can't really include it yet because we don't know what the process is. But it's obviously very frustrating for everybody because people are buying land on the basis that they can get the home builder grant, and therein lies the problem, in my humble opinion. So I saw this at GFC, where first-time buyers in particular jumped into the market because the government was giving you money, right? So in that case, it was like 20 grand or so. This time it's 25 grand. Please do not buy anything just because the government's going to give you some money. Because whilst they might give you 25 grand, you've still got a 500 grand debt to look after. Okay, so focus on the 500 grand debt, not the 25 grand cash. Make sure that you're comfortable taking on that level of responsibility. Make sure you feel you're ready for it and it suits where you are in life, okay? But that's why land sales have been going through the roof recently, okay? It's artificial, doesn't reflect the true economy. And therefore, there's potentially less short-term demand for some established properties around the first-time buyer price points, around 400 to 600,000. Which may artificially depress in the short term further established properties in that range. Generally, we're seeing a lot of buyers still, but the market's all about refinancing at the moment. Everyone trying to reduce the cost of life's biggest expense. It's not that hard, right? And we'll do obviously most of the work for you, but that's where the focus has been. There's a bunch more, but that's 6 minutes. My wife will shout at me because it's too long. But as always, I'm here, and it's when we're growing up as kids, we're told it's not what happens to you, it's how you deal with it. So let's, as adults, remember that, and then let's try and pass on that message to our kids, because it's a great opportunity to develop their resilience. Okay. Have a great July, as best as you can. Okay.